Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Fantasy Premier League Game Week 30. Joining me is Mark to look at the best 3 transfer targets from each outfield position for Game Week 30. Mark, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Excited for game week 30. Yes, how are you?
Yes, good, good. Frazzled because there's a new FPL games launched this week, and suddenly we've got a transfer. It's international break, and suddenly we've got transfers to make, and chips are flying all over the place as well. So yeah, but what this video will be doing is we're going to look at, as I said, the top 3 picks for each of those outfield positions, really, just with game week 30 in mind. So we do have other videos around strategy and looking ahead to all of the fixtures, but this is really looking at the best players for game week 30. Okay, just a reminder before we crack on for everyone to do press that like button. It does help us out, and do subscribe as well to keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Also, check out membership offers at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk to help you climb up your mini leagues. First of all, I'm just going to put the fixtures up really quickly here for this week. What fixtures particularly stand out for you, Mark?
This week, it's Chelsea and Spurs, really. They're both at home to really promoted sides, Burnley and Luton, and with Man City and Arsenal facing each other, it does sort of immediately open up captaincy a bit.
Yeah.
Possibly between those two, but also, as we'll probably come to, more Salah as well. So
Yep.
captaincy seems a bit open this week, and those 2 fixtures are probably where the targets are going to come from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of favourable fixtures this week. Chelsea against Burnley, even Fulham against Sheffield United, Spurs at home to Luton, and that Liverpool game against Brighton. Reverse fixture was very much in Liverpool's favour this season. So, let's just crack on. Let's just go down for defenders. These are top 3 defender targets for game week 30. So there's based on those fixtures there, looking at that Spurs fixture, the Chelsea game, home game against Burnley, and Liverpool's home game against Brighton. So we've got Porro, 5.8 million, points per match, 3.8. So not bad for a defender. He's in, getting on for nearly a fifth of teams, 18.1%. That's overall, though, not top 10k. And obviously playing Luton. Gusto, he's only 4.2 million points per match, not as strong, 2.6, but he's only 4.2 million. Very strong fixture at home to Burnley. I hear this week that he should be fit and raring to go as well. And James is out. He's in 7.5% of teams. And Van Dijk at Liverpool, I quite like. 6.5 million. I think there's a chance of a clean sheet. Also a chance of a goal with him. Brighton do have a habit of conceding sloppy, annoying goals with their habit of passing out from the back. Van Dijk might be able to exploit that. Set pieces, corners, his head will be on the end of that. He's in, getting on for nearly a fifth of teams, 19.3%. And, of course, he plays Brighton at home. So, yeah, anything you want to add about any of these players?
Quite negative on your own team there, aren't you? You're not optimistic.
No. As ever, I know a lot of people say that in the comments. I want Brighton to win 4-3. I want Salah to get a hat trick. He'll probably be my team, but I want Brighton to win 4-3. But I'm a fantasist as
well. I'm exactly the same, in fairness, with Newcastle, so can't really go on that. But yeah, Van Dijk, he's about the goal threat. I noticed that Liverpool's 2 clean sheets in 9 games, they both had an expected goals conceded above 1. So even those 2 were perhaps lucky-ish. I don't know if I particularly expect a clean sheet against Brighton, because you were a good team. But certainly, as you say, the goal threat going forwards, Van Dijk ranks consistently amongst the best defenders for the attacking end of things. And I think going forward, certainly with Sheffield United next week and the fixtures coming, he's definitely a good asset to have overall.
Okay. And what about Gusto as well? I mean, I quite like him sort of long term as well. We'll have other videos about that. But Chelsea's fixtures are pretty good, so I think he's a good player to get in anyway. But especially for this week, home to Burnley, he's got some attacking threat as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. They have, especially Fofana is ineligible, right, for Burnley. So he's been in pretty good form for them, but he's on loan from Chelsea. So that sort of boosts Bristol's clean sheet potential, you would think.
Yeah.
And as you say, he has overcome that illness, it sounds like, and 2 assists in the last 4. It's a really good fixture.
Yep.
He going going beyond this week, the question will always revolve around Reece James, but for that price, there's very little to criticise, and he's a very good option this week.
I'll pick Porra as well. I mean, you could go for a doggy, but over the course of the season, I think Porra has been pretty strong attacking wise. I just think this is a good fixture for clean sheet potential as well.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a couple of ways. I sort of benefited from having him against Villa, that sort of unexpected big score. That clean sheet was not expected at all. But then again, Luton have scored in 17 consecutive league games, so it could happen. But at the same time, it's a strong home fixture. One of my favourite stats is that Porro, his 37 shots is the most out of any goalless player.
Oh wow! Okay.
No player has had more shots about a goal than him, so
it's due.
Due a goal, yeah. But in terms of set pieces, now that Maddison's back, he hasn't completely lost them. He's sort of been in and out of them. So the worry, there's a worry that he completely lose a bit of threat. He still has some. He assisted 8 times, but let's say that a goal is due.
Yeah. I think so. A doggy as well. So yeah, I mean, Porro's had 17 of those 37. Was it 37 shots? 17 of those have been at close range as well. So these aren't pot shots. And a doggy has had 8 shots inside the box. A doggy's got 2 goals. Porro's got none, but he has got 8 assists, which is absolutely huge. And a doggy's got 3. So you can go put a doggy in there as well if you can't get stretched to Porro because a doggy's 0.8 million cheaper. Let's move on to midfielders. This is a sort of a battle of the captaincy candidates, really. These totally pick themselves. I mean, it's all subjective, but I just think this is objective. I just think Salah, Palmer and Son are the best 3 midfielders because I would happily captain any of them. Salah, 13.1 million, points per match, 7.6. He's in getting on for a quarter of teams, 24.4%. And he's got a home against Brighton. Palmer, 5.7 million. Points per match, 5.9. That's absolutely huge for his price. 35% of teams he is in, and he's playing Burnley, of course, at home. And Son, 10.1 million. Points per match, a mighty 6.7. He's another strong captaincy candidate. He's in a third of teams exactly. All teams, that is. And, of course, he faces Luton at home. So, yeah, anything else you wanted to add about these... this trio?
Well, we've got on Scout, we've got an article coming out tonight, Tuesday. What day it is?
Yeah, it is Tuesday.
Got an article on Salah and how soon it will be till he's essential, especially with the double game week 34 being announced. And I feel like the conclusion is very soon he's going to be essential. And a lot of people have bought him already, possibly on a wild card, and certainly for the week after Sheffield United, it's going to be hard to resist. And yeah, he's just constantly elite. Recent cup goals were strong. He scored a brace in the reverse meeting with Brighton.
Yeah,
as if we needed a reminder of his goals. But he's also created the most big chances.
Yeah.
Well. So he's everything, and yeah, just try and get him as soon as possible, really. And then when it comes to Son, well, one of the questions the article was asking was which player makes way for Salah, because there's a lot of good midfielders. There has to be a sacrifice somewhere, and it could be Son, and that's helped by the blank, but maybe not quite yet because Luton at home is a good-looking fixture. They always concede, lots of big chances they've conceded as well. So don't know how Richarlison's return will affect that. He does have a better rate as a centre forward, but whichever position he's in at the weekend, he's a strong captaincy shout.
Yeah. And I mean Palmer. I mean, I've got to say he's even more essential than Salah at the moment, just because that points per when your points per match is higher than your price. That he's definitely on my radar then.
Oh, absolutely. Such a bargain. Most of us have him, really, don't we? But on penalties, at home to Burnley, great form. and all 3 meetings against the newly promoted sides have all ended in double digits.
Wow.
So this could be another. Yeah. He's got everything. And when you look at the stats from game week 7 onwards, which is when his first start was, he's right up at the top. I think only Watkins has more points, more attacking returns. He's quite low on big chances, Palmer, in fairness, but yeah, he's essential, isn't he?
He's had 19 starts and 20 returns, 11 goals, 9 assists. So once again, his returns are outstripping his starts as well. That's Haaland territory. Speaking of which, I wonder if he is amongst our forwards. Let's move on to forwards. So these are 3 forwards. I recommend no, Haaland's not there. I've got some surprises. Well, some of them. I've got Isak. He's at home to West Ham. Points per match 4.8. And his price is 7.5 million. He's in just 12% of teams. I like him going forward. Obviously, he's your team, Newcastle. Jackson is the controversial choice I've got in here, but he's at home to Burnley. His points per match is 3.6. He has looked good from an FPL point of view, especially against these weaker teams, and I think he could do well. He's only in 4.6% of teams, and he's 6.8 million. And I've got Darwin in here as well. He's 7.5 million. His points per match is 4.3, so much higher than Jackson. He's in 14.1% teams, and he, of course, has got that home match against Brighton. But I don't know whether this is something you might mention. Jackson is on 9 yellows. Darwin is on 8 yellows. It's okay for this week, but long term, you have to start thinking about will they get a 2-match ban when I want them? But they should be fine. They'll be fine for game week 30. But yeah, out of these 3 players, I guess particularly Isak, have you got anything to say about them?
Well, they're all good. The Jackson thing it's a fair point about the 9 yellows, because not only does he look good this week, but sort of the wild card 35 situation, he looks a really good differential potential for sure. And I think by 35 he would have reached the barrier for 10 yellows. So certainly for the final weeks, but as a one-off game, I think he's got 3 goals in the last 4 in all competitions. So he's got the form, he's got the fixture. Burnley's defense is one of the worst around, so ticks every box there really. Isak, I think both him and Jackson are joint 5th for big chances, but Isak's done it in even fewer minutes. He's had a few injuries, and his minutes per goal ratio is really, really good. It's like out of those who have played a decent number of times, it's only Haaland with Isak. So he's on penalties. I just, as a supporter, I just think he's one of the best around, personally. He scored twice, just similar to Salah, he scored twice in the reverse with West Ham.
Yeah.
So Areola owners know what it's like to own West Ham defensive assets. So, yeah, he has a good run of fixtures for this week and beyond. And should he stay fit, I think Isak could quickly become one of the leading forward options, really.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, there are other candidates. I could have put Ollie Watkins in at home to Wolves. I'm not quite entirely sure what to expect with Wolves' defence. That's why I was a bit reticent to put him in just for this week as well. But yeah, going forwards, Isak, Jackson, and Darwin are all strong. They've all got double game weeks coming up at some point, and they've all got very strong fixtures. But there is that yellow card hanging over Jackson. And Darwin, the ban there. Isak, mentioned sort of, he got West Ham and he's got Everton at home. And particularly at home, Newcastle are pretty strong. Got Tottenham at home in 33. So 3 of the next 4 are at home. And then in the away game in 32 is against Fulham. So Isak is someone you definitely can bring in now, play him, especially if you've got a free hit chip in 34. You can bring in now, say, and... he's good to go. Perhaps you've got no wild card left. Someone's watching, no wild card. Think, what do I do? But they might have a free hit. Isak, I think, is a good player to have because he's got a double in 37. So he's a good player to bring in now. But it's more game week 30 we're looking at here.
It is, and it's that time of year where maybe you've had a template team all season, but maybe this is the time some managers will think, this is where I'm going to make some big moves.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to sell Watkins and take a risk. And I think Isak would be a really good route for that because he'll have the low percentage of ownership, but it's kind of a good confidence that he's not really a risk. Like if he plays, he's probably going to score quite a lot and shoot you up the rankings.
I think
He'd be Solanke for him.
Yeah. I think most weeks we do this. We're going to see Haaland there, but not this week because Man City, Arsenal. That's just too tough to call. I couldn't. Arsenal could win that 1-0. Man City could win that 1-0. It could be a 4-4 thriller. I cannot predict it at all, and which is lucky for us choosing slightly more different players this week. I think.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to look at some different names. It's great as Haaland.
Definitely. There are obviously some differentials this week. Chris Wood, if he's playing for Nottingham Forest against Crystal Palace. Obviously, Crystal Palace players. There's a Mateta, are interesting. Muniz at Fulham against Sheffield United. It's away there. There's a hell of a lot of interesting players there. Garnacho at Manchester United, away to Brentford. It was just I was trying to go for more home players, I think, this week. And I think there's plenty of opportunity, plenty of good fixtures for those home players. Marc, thanks so much for joining me. It's been great to get those players together in our heads who we're going to bring in or look to target or hope to bring in. Hits might be needed, but I do think it's a hell of a lot of choice this week. So good luck everyone watching. Do remember to press that like button. Do remember to subscribe. Do remember to check out membership offers at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Till next time, Marc. Take care. See you soon.
Bye.